Let's start from the Middle East, where the war between Israel and Hamas is still raging. 3 air raids on residential homes in the Rafah area of Gaza have reportedly led to the death of at least 28 persons, and that's according to a health official and a journalist who claim they saw bodies being brought to the hospital. This also comes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu orders the Israeli Defense Forces to carry out an evacuation plan for Rafah before the initiation of ground attacks. We have more details in this report.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered the military to prepare for civilian evacuations in Rafah as his troops are set to enter the densely populated city situated at the border with Egypt, which now serves as the largest refugee camp for Palestinians fleeing the war between Israel and Hamas. Netanyahu has said in a statement shared by his office that he ordered Israel's military to submit a plan to evacuate the population in the southern Gaza Strip city before entering the refugee camp to fight Hamas militants. Israel threatened to move into Rafah last week, and the defense minister Yoav Gallant says the advancement would come now that the IDF have completed operations in the southern city of Khan Yunis. And as the war rages, some legal experts say videos of Gaza detainees stripped, bound and blindfolded, filmed and uploaded online by Israeli soldiers could breach international law. International law says detainees must not be exposed to unnecessary humiliation or public curiosity. But the Israeli military says such videos do not represent its values. Meanwhile, children living in the isolated northern Gaza say children are going without food for days as aid convoys are increasingly denied permits to enter the enclave. Some residents have allegedly resorted to grinding animal feeds into flour to survive, while others dig down into the soil to access water pipes for drinking and washing. The United Nations has warned that acute malnutrition amongst children in the north has risen sharply and is now above the critical threshold of 15%.
And for more on the war, I'm being joined by Global Affairs Analyst Kunle Falowo, who joins me from Indianapolis, United States. Kunle, good to see you once again.
Thanks for having me.
The IDF is shooting directly at citizens, and we could see that Israel is insisting that this is a defensive measure. Does this sit well with you?
Absolutely not. It's an unfortunate incident, and we're starting to see the devastating effect of the war. It's saddening. It's unfortunate that this is happening. The children, the vulnerable kids, and nursing mothers and older elderly people are at the detriment, and they're suffering. They're really going through some difficult situations down in Gaza and in those areas also. And you know, the international community are also watching, and you know, unfortunately a lot of cautions are being thrown to the wind because in the aim of trying to eliminate, you know, Hamas, unfortunately they haven't been able to kind of identify how to do that without punishing or putting the lives of ordinary civilians in harm's way. President Joe Biden has also accused the Israeli leadership of being over the top in the response so far in Gaza Strip. So altogether, this is very unfortunate.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister Netanyahu has ordered another military evacuation again at this time, and according to humanitarian officials, they're expecting a bloodbath in Rafah. Would you really say that Israel is winning the war against Hamas at this time?
It's very difficult to say at this point because we have to look at how it's been going since the incident in October the 7th. It's about 4 months altogether. Nothing is happening because there's still over 100 people that's been held hostage by the Hamas militancy group, and that hasn't been released yet. And they're still there, hoping that they'll be able to come out and rejoin their families. But that's not happening yet. All of the modalities and the things that the options that the Hamas group had put to the table for the Israeli as part of terms to release those hostages. Israeli leadership, led by Benjamin Netanyahu, is not, accepting and not agreeing to it. So there's still some hostages, and unfortunately, this is just a back and forth, and it's really bad seeing people die on a daily, and this bloodshed that's going on in the name of trying to eliminate the Hamas group. It's really saddening, and my concern now is it's going to get to a point where the international community will start to frown at the Israeli leadership because of the indiscriminate way they're going about the war.
Possibly be wrong with Israel's strategy of wiping out Hamas. We could say at this time it has failed to achieve about two objectives, which is wiping out Hamas and bringing back the hostages. What could possibly be wrong with its strategy? Because it could seem like negotiations have failed at this time.
One of the policies, or one of the terms that's been thrown in the public eye, or that's been being the topic of conversation in the public domain, is a two-state entity in Palestine, or in that Gaza area. In that way, it will give autonomy for Gazans leadership to come up with a state of their own that they could control. Benjamin Netanyahu and his leadership team are not agreeing to that also, and they're going all the way out to continue with this war. And aside from that, all of the terms that has been brought to the table has not been appreciated or accepted by the Israeli leadership. So we're trying to see that even the United States as one of the the folks that are cheering on the Israeli team and encouraging them to have the right to defend itself. They're not really happy about what's been happening and the way that the Israeli team has been responding, in the quest to eliminate Hamas. So at the end of the day, there's so many millions of dollars that's been pushed in to the Israeli team in the form of arms and ammunition to support them. Now, if the international supports are growing weary, there won't be any other alternative than to kind of come back to the negotiating table and discuss about those things, because at the end of the day, ordinary people, kids, vulnerable children, elderly, are the ones that are really getting hurt. And it's a very
let's also talk about how this will affect Israel's relationship with the United States, because it seems at this time Netanyahu is not listening to Joe Biden.
Well, of course, Netanyahu has his political sympathizers. Don't forget that Netanyahu has a far-right leadership team, and they're really not. They're not in this game, or they're not interested in having a two-state Palestine, and that's not what they want. But and like I said, at the end of the day, if the international community are getting tired of the way things are going, the aid will stop coming into Israel, and then they'll be forced or compelled to renegotiate and find out ways to, alternative ways to carry out this war, and in such a manner that it wouldn't really affect ordinary citizens. So until we have a joint statement from the international community, not just the United States, that will strongly, in strong terms, condemn what's happening in Gaza and have a joint alternative to what's been going on, unfortunately, we're just kind of paying lip services to what's going on over there.
Okay, Kunle, we have been discussing about this war since the beginning, but at this point, we're just going to wait out the outcome of the evacuation plan in Rafah. Thank you for joining us on The World Now this time. I have been speaking with Global Affairs Analyst Kunle Falowo, live for us in the United States. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And still on the conflict in Gaza, the World Health Organization says hospitals are not spared in the unrelenting war in Gaza, and neither their staff nor persons sheltering there. The WHO spokesperson Tariq unveiled his organization's data, which indicates that more than 350 healthcare facilities, which include 27 hospitals and 90 ambulances, have been attacked and damaged in Gaza since hostilities erupted. According to the agency's spokesperson, a total of 645 people have died since October 7, with another 818 injured in the war.
WHO has documented 721 attacks on healthcare in the occupied Palestinian territory since October 7. Out of those 721, 357 attacks in the Gaza, resulting in 645 fatalities and 818 injuries. Health facilities are protected under international humanitarian law, and we keep really repeating our appeal to all parties of the conflict to respect that health workers, ambulances, hospitals, patients should never be a target and should be protected.
The ISF also claimed that one of them had a gun, a claim denied by hospital staff. No exchange of fire was reported. Under applicable international human rights law, firearms may only be used when strictly necessary to prevent an imminent threat to life of serious injury and is otherwise unlawful. Article 53 of the 4th Geneva Convention